to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Here he goes. It's Hester. Inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Fields stumbling, trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown!
Hurts on first down, fires downfield. It's Deshaun Jackson back in the lineup. This the last 7 games, and he will take it 81 yards. A somersault into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season.
You're listening to the Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Project. Not really a very fast-paced week in terms of news goes. We've got some stuff, I guess, between the, obviously there's the Ravens news and everything like that as well. If you guys hear a dog panting in the background, my apologies. My grandparents' dog is over here, and I'm watching it because everybody's on vacation. And I had to stick back and work, and he's a little hyper, but he reminds me of Doug from Up, if anybody knows what that's like. So without further ado, we normally start in a certain way, and that's by starting my good friend Ben. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. School's really kicking my butt. For our regular listeners, they'd know we're starting about 20 minutes behind what we're usually used to. Got school. Love the podcast. School comes first, but school's kicking my butt. But it's good. The last week has been a lot of fun. It was fun manning the ship. Still getting used to the behind the scenes technical stuff. So it's nice to have you back doing the overlays and the banners, because that's still a little tricky. So thanks for all the listeners who stuck with me through it last week. But again, good to talk about football. We're 28 days until the draft, I think. 28 days sounds about right. Something like that. So
something like that. Yeah, good. I know. It's coming up, and it's coming up really quick.
4 weeks from tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Nonetheless, we don't really have a lot going on this week. So when it comes to, news and everything like that, not really too much going on. So there more than likely will be a shorter episode than you're used to. If you guys are listening, not live, you probably saw already what the timestamp is, but nonetheless, I say we go ahead and get started and dive into weekly news.
Ryan and Ben bring you weekly news.
All right. So, like I said, a couple of minor headlines per se. Broncos wide receiver KJ Hamler suffered a torn pec while working out on his own and will be out 4 to 6 months. Unfortunate, but also, when you're looking at it from the Broncos, point of view, they aren't looking to trade Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton as of right now. And so it's not as big of a hit as you normally would think. But it's still pretty big and unfortunate hit to a pretty solid piece. And I would even go as far as saying a little underrated for sure. But we'll get to that as well later on in this episode. But just something a little headline and everything, nothing too serious. He will be back is the thing that matters the most. The next headline: Ezekiel Elliott is choosing between the Bengals, Jets, and Eagles and wants to be signed sooner rather than later. Jets running backs Breece Hall and Michael Carter don't want Zeke in their running back room. Ben, how do you feel about him potentially being an Eagle, though?
The Eagles don't want him in the reports are a lot of reports today saying that, Zeke wants to be an Eagle. The Eagles really don't want Zeke. And I'm going to be honest, I really don't want him. He's old. He's washed up. He got cut for a reason. He's a good short yardage back. But, if you're going to pay Zeke $4 million a year or whatnot, just go and put that in a dude who's younger and has tread on his tires. Zeke is just Zeke had a really good 6-ish years, solid. I mean, one of the better backs the past 6 years. We saw him take the drop off this year. I think he'll be a good RB2 for whoever picks him up, but I really don't think he's a starter anywhere he goes. And yeah, again, he doesn't want to need. I praise the Lord that doesn't happen. I really don't want him wearing an Eagles uniform. So,
Eagles. Speaking of Eagles, right tackle Lane Johnson agreed to terms on a 1-year extension through 2026 worth $33.4 million with a $30 million or $30 million guarantee. I mean, probably the best right tackle in the game, right? I mean, Lane Johnson's
definitely
pretty good.
The best right tackle in the game, arguably the best tackle in the game. I mean, taking left and right tackle out of it, he is the best tackle, but some people value left over right, which would make sense. But even with the positional value between left and right, I still think Lane's the best tackle in the game. He hasn't let up a sack in 3 years. Well earned. It's structured, like you said, it's a 1-year extension, but I think there's I think there's 2 void years on the back of that, because you see 30 million guaranteed, and you're like 30 million in 1 year to a tackle. Holy cow!
Yeah.
Well, there are the void years at the back end of that, so that allows you to restructure him and spread that 30 out over the course of the following years. But that basically means he's going to be Eagle for his life. He's not going to go and play anywhere else. Good. Him and Jason, their numbers should be retired. They've done amazing. But I mean, that has bigger draft implications. Speaking of draft implications, I mean, if you guys are listening to this and you guys like our coverage, go and watch our mock draft episode. But anyways, it has bigger draft implications. But again, like you said, best tackle in the game. Good to have him back. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And we kind of expected a contract restructure anyways to free up money. I think we now have I think it's 14 million now. So it's still plenty enough to go out and make a nice, good signing or two. So
absolutely,
it'll be good.
Solid move. Linebacker Bobby Wagner is returning to the Seahawks on a 1-year deal. Something nice for, I mean, even though he's a little bit of a, I mean, not a little bit, but he is a veteran player for this team that, I mean, definitely needed some help on defense. And one point that I'd like to make, which, I mean, will probably be remade on the mock draft episode as we make it. They get a guy like Will Anderson and they pair him up with Bobby Wagner again, because Wagner didn't put up crazy bad numbers. He was good. He's still Bobby Wagner. He's still pretty solid. He is getting up there in age and everything, and the decline is likely coming, but you get a younger guy in there to be mentored by Bobby Wagner in Seattle, especially a guy that's already really talented like Will Anderson. That could be pretty dangerous after the draft. You're in position to do that as well. Hoping that, maybe Arizona trades back, or maybe they take a swing on Jalen Carter. Maybe they like another edge rusher a little bit better, which I would be surprised, but yeah. But I mean, just something that you look at, from a Seahawks fan's point of view, if anybody is listening out there as a Seahawks fan. But yes, I mean, more than likely that's a dream situation in Seattle.
Yeah.
Next up, the NFL owners have agreed to let players wear number 0, and Calvin Ridley is the first player to announce that he is doing so. Micah Parsons is also among the same group, as so I've heard. So, nothing too crazy, except, I mean, hey, new numbers. I don't think defensive and offensive linemen can wear number 0.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a buddy at work. I was like, dude, I mean, I know that this is impossible now because they kind of ruled it out, but I mean, an edge rusher wearing number 0 would be kind of clean.
well, that's the loophole there, though. A guy like Hassan Reddick could technically wear 0 because he's not considered to be a defensive lineman. He falls under the edge rushing category, and I think he's actually considered to be our weak side linebacker.
Yeah.
But he's an edge rusher, and that same thing goes Zadarius Smith, Matthew Judon. TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, all those guys who wear number 0. I would like to see big guys wear it. Like, imagine big Jordan Davis wearing 0. That'd just be comical.
Right.
But there's loopholes for it too. And then you forgot the other big jersey analytic, number
What's
analytic.
that?
Punters can now, I think it was 1 through 20, and I think it's now 1 through 49, and then 90 and 99. It's not 90 through 99, but it's 90 and 99, which I have no clue why they made that change. Like, imagine your punter strolling out there wearing like 42. That's not like a very
what a weird
appealing
number for a kicker, am I right? Anyways, for those that don't understand that joke, we had a kicker that wore number 42 in high school. And not only that, but the only reason why I know that is because I wanted to wear 42 and it was already taken. So anyways, Marvin Jones is returning to the Lions. Just another player returning home. Just a solid depth piece, nothing really too crazy, not a game changer or anything like that. Lamar Jackson, this is the big news of the week. Lamar Jackson said he came out and said that he has requested a trade, and he requested it early this month. And so although the Ravens, from what I'm hearing, they want to keep him in-house, obviously, and they're still going through negotiations. I've also heard that they talked to Baker Mayfield about maybe getting him in. I saw this funny argument that I don't think was legit, but somebody said, why would you pay Lamar Jackson the big bucks if you already have a Pro Bowler sitting in a house in Tyler Huntley? Like,
Stu Huntley.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that, but it's a difficult situation there. We talked about it in the in our little side group chat that we always notoriously talk about in the podcast. If I'm the Jets,
this is what I'm with.
And even though the Jets have already said, like, we are so focused on getting the Aaron Rodgers deal done, Lamar's a lot younger than Aaron. How about
this?
A
lot better.
Like, what if you don't be the Jets for 5 seconds and you make a phone call and get a modern quarterback that might last you a couple more years, pay him the big bucks, and maybe take you a little bit farther than a guy that might be mediocre again this year and might retire next year.
I will say, I think the holdup more than anything on that is that he wants the fully guaranteed contract, or something close to that. Like Deshaun, I think, was making 250, maybe it's 245, like fully guaranteed. And Lamar's like, I don't want like that, but he's like, I'd like to have like the first 4 years be fully guaranteed and the last year not be, or something like that.
Yeah.
And people look at that and people are like, and people think the holdup is, he's been injured. Do you want to be an injured quarterback fully guaranteed? But the big hang up people forget to talk about, and I was watching a video about it today, is and I don't know how many people know this, but whenever you guarantee a contract, like I think more than half of AJ Brown's contract, I think he's on I think he has like 4 years, like 90 million or something like that.
Yeah.
But like 50 million of it is guaranteed. As soon as a player signs a guaranteed contract, the team owner has to put all of that money away into a separate account. So if Lamar's wants a $250 million, or let's say $200 million guaranteed contract or something along those lines, it's not like it's, 50, 50, 50, 50 broken across 4 years. While that is technically what he's getting paid, that 200 million lump is has to be put away right then and there. And the owner, while they're all billionaires, I mean, it's hard for anyone to pull $200 million out and put it away and not be able to touch that. And I think that's one of the biggest hangups that people forget about, is when a contract is guaranteed, that money is pulled out and put in a separate account immediately. And it's not just for the 1 year, it's whatever that guaranteed amount is, in whole. And I think that's a part of it that people aren't talking much about. So,
yeah. So I mean, with that, we're gonna go ahead and move on just a little bit. But before we do, I want to say if you are still listening, please give us a solid rating. On whatever platform that you guys are listening on. If you're still on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or anything like that, drop a like, or just like a thumbs up or whatever it is. But if you guys are listening to this in the future on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whichever one you guys listen on, please give us a solid rating and everything because it helps out with algorithm and everything like that. It'd be a huge, huge help. And not only that, but I want to give a huge shout out to Overtime Sports Network because the guys that run Overtime Sports Network are going to a little event. It's not huge or anything like that, but they've got a podcast over there, and it's called the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. And this event that they're going to is just a little thing called WrestleMania, and they're going to be going this weekend. It's a huge, huge, huge event. And I'm sure that they're going to have some pretty awesome content for you guys if you guys are wrestling fans. So go ahead and give them a listen or, a follow or anything like that too, because that'll also be greatly appreciated among Overtime Sports Network, which we are a branch of or a part of. So without further ado, if you guys listen to last week's episode, we ranked quarterbacks, and this week we're going to be ranking wide receivers. Ben, I don't know if you found a ranking or not, but I definitely did, and it's a little bit more widespread than I had envisioned, just because there's a lot of wide receivers that need to be talked about, I guess, to some people. Here's the list.
Wow.
It's pretty it's pretty huge. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and hide this stuff, but we don't have to talk about all of them. There's a lot of tiers here. I can remove them as we go. This is the first time that you're seeing them and everything like that, but I think that it's pretty reasonable. Solid depth option, mid depth option. Then there's just the gross category that I made, undecided, unproven, and then all of these were put there by whoever made this list. So we will go through, I guess. I mean, they're alphabetical order, I think. So I say let's just go ahead and dive into it because we've got plenty of time to talk about it.
Yeah, why not?
So Adam Thielen, right? He's a little bit older. I would almost put him in the D or solid depth option right now.
Yeah, I was thinking D. I think D is a good spot for him. I do think he's a starting wide receiver, and we'll see that. But I don't think he's more than like a starting wide receiver 3/wide receiver 2. Like he shouldn't be a starting wide receiver 1 on anyone's team. Cough, cough, Panthers.
Yeah. Next up, AJ Brown. He's got to be in A tier.
I think he's top of A. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and move them up here. There's so many tiers. I gotta put them in one and then the other.
No worries.
Alec Pierce.
I would say undecided/unproven. I mean, he played 1 year.
He showed a lot of growth towards the end, and I'm very excited for what he can do alongside Michael Pittman, especially if you can get a guy. I mean, if they can pull off some kind of trade like the Bears did to get Mitch Trubisky and move up to get a guy like Bryce Young before the Texans do. Because let's face it, the Panthers, right? They're in love with CJ Stroud. I would envision that Stroud's available there at 4 if the Cardinals don't trade. You would say that, Bryce Young is first to go.
I think if the Panthers are wanting to trade out, I think they would have to make a move. I think the Colts or whoever it is would have to kind of do what they did with the Eagles did with Carson, where they trade up once and then trade up again. I think whether you are the Colts or whoever it is, I think you have to trade up to 3 with the Cardinals and then trade up again to 1, because the Panthers do not want to put themselves even in 4, because even if they trade back to 4, then you're really risking, what if someone trades up to 3 and takes our guy or something? I think if they move out of that spot, the Panthers will be moving back to 3. That would be my guess. So
Allen Robinson is the next wide receiver in here. I also wanted to finish that last. Yeah. I wanted to make my point Alec Pierce paired up with Michael Pittman and a new quarterback. That's not a terrible position to be in. Anyways,
Yes.
yeah, Allen Robinson's in the gross category. He proved exactly what the Bears needed him to prove this past season. So that's, that helped me out.
Yes.
I think we should get rid of this one. What do you think? Mid-depth option?
Yeah.
It's just to save some space. Amari Cooper.
I would say B.
I was going to say B as well. Yeah,
There you
we've
go.
been in agreement for a lot. Amari Rogers.
Solid depth option.
Yeah. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I would put him right up there with Amari Cooper.
I'm right there with you.
Brandon Cooks, I'd put maybe in the C tier.
Yep. This is where it gets interesting because I think he's back end of B, top of C, and I could be okay with either one. I think for now B is where we put him, but I think if at the end, if we have to put him in C and we feel like he doesn't belong in B, we can do that.
He's not utilized enough. Like he can be utilized. He can be utilized. Yeah. I mean, I know that he's the wide receiver 1 per se in San Francisco in a certain sense, just because Debo is utilized in so many different parts of their offense. But you put Brandon Ayuk on a team, I mean, let's just throw it out there, just because they were wide receiver needy, like the Bears, for example, before the DJ Moore trade. I mean, that's a wide receiver 1 position. You look at, I think maybe even the Lions. I think you could pair. You could have Amon-Ra St. Brown as a high end too. I'm trying to think of other wide receiver needy teams.
I think I'd rather have Amon-Ra over Brandon Ayuk. I think he's a better wide receiver.
I'm not. Well, yes, absolutely. Okay. What I'm saying is, right now, from what we know, absolutely. But if he were on a different team with less star power, I think he would seem like a lot better of a player than what he looks like right now.
He put up. He was either close to the 1,000-yard mark or hit it, and that's when he's fighting with targets, like you said, with guys like Debo and Kittle and CMC, and he's still able to put up like around 1,000 yards. That's awesome. Like you said, I think if he was on a team where he was the number 1 option or number 2 option versus the 4th option, he'd be putting up even better numbers.
Brian Edwards.
Solid depth option.
That's what I was going to say as well. Treylon Burks, undecided, unproven. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb, I'm putting an A, honestly. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes. Yep.
Chase Claypool, I'm putting in D for right now.
Yeah.
He can go up to C this season, though. He can go up to C. Christian Kirk.
That he's in the same. I think based off this year's performance, he belongs in B, but I think overall as a player, he's probably C.
I was thinking C as well. Should we just mutually put him high in C?
Yep. I agree with that. I think that's a good.
Cooper Kupp's an A. I don't care. He's an A, but
he's an A.
I'd put him in between AJ Brown and CeeDee Lamb. Maybe behind CeeDee. Yeah. Corey Davis, I'm putting in the gross. Yeah.
Gross.
Cortland Sutton. C, late. I'm thinking either D or C, and the reason why I would say C is because I think that he would be in the back end of C, so like a C minus.
Yeah.
So I'll just do that. Jamison Crowder, solid depth option.
At this point in his career, solid depth option. At one point, he probably would have been higher than that, but at this point in his career, yeah.
Curtis Samuel, this is a very underrated wide receiver, and I would almost put him like in C, right about here.
No, I think I'd rather have. I don't know. Personally, I would rather have Cortland Sutton. I would put him in front. I would put him right now currently as the best player in D.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. And for those watching, again, this is or listening, this is a tier list. So while we are putting him at the front end of D, we're not it's not like he's firmly wide receiver, 17 or something like that. These guys are all, this isn't a hard, fast ranking. These are just like roughly like where we think they fall within their tiers. So don't take it like this is how it is. So.
Yeah. Devontae Adams, I want to put in S tier.
I think there's 2 S tier wide receivers. I think he's the 3rd best wide receiver in the league, but I think there are 2 guys that are clearly on another level. I want to put him in A tier, and I know Packers and Raiders fans wouldn't be happy about it, but I just think.
Sorry, I'm putting him above AJ though.
Yeah, no, I think he's wide receiver 3. Yes, I think he's firmly wide receiver 3.
Debo's next, and I don't want to put him in A, so I want to kind of put him in the high B.
Yes, I agree. I based off his performance this year, and if we're just going based off of wide receiver and not their ability to do other things, I think B is a good spot for him.
Devin Duvernay,
solid depth option. I mean, maybe you could say D. I mean, you can make the argument for D if you would like, but yeah, solid depth option.
Devontae Smith, I want to put in like a highest C.
Highest C. Yep. Yep.
DeAndre Hopkins, I want to put at the highest level of B right now because of injury history, and he can go up to A this next season, but I think B right now.
Yeah.
Better than Debo though.
I would have him like for 1 year. If we're talking about just next year, I think I'd rather have him. But if you're starting a franchise, Debo. But I think I think purely
win now, yeah. Stephon Diggs is an S. That's one of them.
S? No, wow, no. I disagree. I think him. No, there's no way. There are 2 S tier guys in the league, and that's it.
I'm trying to think. I think one plays for the Bengals.
No.
One plays for the Bengals, one plays for the Vikings. That's my opinion.
One plays for the Vikings and one plays for the Dolphins.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's what it's come on now. Yeah. I think those 2 guys, and then I think it's those 2 and then a drop off. And it's tough because I think even within A, there's a bit of a drop off within A too, because I think it's those 2. And then I think within A, I think like roughly on the same tier. We'll get to it though, but I think Jamar, Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, and then you could make the argument for AJ Brown. But I think those guys are on their own level within A, and then the guys like CD and Cooper Kupp going into next season. Again, Cooper Kupp was the best wide receiver last time he was healthy, but he's not healthy. So, but I think even within A, there's like a separation between the 2. But
yeah. Next up's Deontay Johnson. And I would put him like behind Devontae Smith in C.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I was.
I would rather have him than Christian Kirk as my wide receiver 1, but not by all that much right now.
I think if you would have asked me this time last year, he probably would have been in B. But I think given his quarterback is learning and stuff, but I think that's probably good.
And the rookie's resurgence. I mean, holy crap, he was great. Pickens, I mean, he looks like he could take over. Who knows?
Yeah.
DJ Chark, I'm thinking solid depth option.
Yeah, solid depth option. I think for DJ now, Moore. This next guy we can put in A, but I think he'll probably end up in B.
Okay, that's fair. He's lower end A. Okay, I'll agree to that. But right now,
we'll see how his list. We'll see how the list plays out. But I think right now A. But if we have to move him to like, he's either back end of A or very, very, very top end of B.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that. His stats right now with bad quarterbacks is just great. So yes, I mean, very, very excited. And I think that him and Justin Fields can do a lot of great things. So A for sure for me. Not just because I'm biased. It's A. DK, I'm putting in B.
B, I would rather have DK than DJ.
Really?
I don't think it's close. I don't think I don't want to say I don't think it's close, but I think DJ is or DK is I don't want to say clearly better, but it is firmly better than DJ with his he's an alien. He's a freak of nature.
He's unbelievable. Yeah. Drake London, unproven.
Yeah.
Elijah Moore, I want to put in gross, but like
I think solid depth option based off of how he played last year. I wanted to put him higher, but he just didn't get any targets last year.
Dwayne
So
Eskridge.
gross.
Yeah.
Gross. Put him in the gross category.
Russell Gage, I'm putting in the solid depth option as the highest solid depth option.
Yeah, I can get behind
He'd be
that.
if he didn't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Gallup, I want to put highest D.
D. Yeah, D.
Garrett Wilson, I'm putting in C, honestly.
I would put it.
And I would put him over Deontay.
Honest, I might put him over Devontae too.
I'm talking or Devontae. I'm saying Deontay.
Yeah, I might put him over Devontae.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we put him over Devontae when you take into account that Garrett is, and again, I think there could be a category you could make the argument for him in B, but he's still a rookie. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he ended next season in A. That's how much potential he has. But right now, I think he belongs there, and I do think he belongs above Devontae because he put up good numbers with a way less quarterback than Devontae, and Garrett is wide receiver 1 on his team. I mean, that's no shot to Devontae. I mean, Devontae stan. I think he's slept on, but I do think Garrett belongs in front of him.
Chris Godwin, I would say B, but the lower.
I don't know. Based off of last season, I want to put him in C.
Okay. Middle of the pack, maybe, because I don't know. I'm conflicted. He could be really good or very.
That's the issue with him. That's the issue with him. He's either having these amazing games or he's putting up 3 catches for 40 yards.
I think right here is probably the best spot for him.
Yeah, probably.
AJ Green, solid depth option. He's not even playing anymore. Is he?
I might even put him in gross. I think he might have just retired.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's put him in solid depth option out of respect. Nicole Hardman,
solid depth option.
Yeah. Marquise Brown,
D.
Where at
D? D. I don't know. Probably top.
Right here, I think. Behind
probably
Gallup.
Roughly there. Him and Gallup are I think are the same.
I'm gonna move him behind Curtis Samuel.
That's fair. That works.
Jahan Dotson, unproven. Yeah. Jacoby Myers,
C. I was thinking
bottom C.
I think he's better than Cortland Sutton. No, I lied. I take that back. Don't. A.
I want to put Jamar Chase in S tier.
No. There's no.
He's
no.
Good,
I think I understand that, but they're he's not the best wide, and I think there are 2, and I think it shows. Look at the 2 wide receivers that were in the Offensive Player of the Year conversation and the MVP conversation, and there was only 2 of them. And I think that's where you see that separation. Who are the 2 guys that were in the MVP conversation? And there's only 2 of them. But Jamar was hurt. I understand that, but there's 2 of them, and that was it. Do you want to know who was hurt too? Tyreek Hill was hurt too for a little bit, and he belongs in S tier.
Those and I agree with that as well. That might be
wild.
S
he's
tier.
Not on the same.
I think that he's absolutely on that tier, and I think Stephon Diggs can be too.
I think
in the S tier, I think we should do the top 5 because otherwise this A tier is going to fill up.
No, I think on the quarterbacks, we only had 1 wide receiver in his own ranking, and that was Patrick Mahomes because he was clearly the best. And there are clearly 2 wide receivers in the league that sit above everyone else. Can Jamar get to that next year? Yes. Going into it, there are 2 clear wide receiver 1s, and that's it. Here, we'll come back to Jamar. I'm going to shoot in the chat. And we'll see. We'll have
Let's put him at the top of A, right there with Stephon.
Thank you.
We'll just keep going. Jameson Williams, don't even know why he's on this list. It's undecided. He hardly even played. Jarvis Landry, I'm putting in gross. No, he's actually a pretty solid depth option right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi cut out.
No, you're good.
For a second.
Jerry Jeudy, C tier. Behind Chris Godwin?
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson's going in S tier.
S tier, yes.
Juju D.
D. So
I'm putting him in front of Adam Thielen because I think I'd rather have Marquise Brown over him. Julio, I'm sorry, bro. You were so good in your prime, but he's gross now.
yeah.
Keenan Allen. Ugh. Dude, I love Keenan Allen. It's just that he's hurt all the time. I almost want to put him in D just because they don't use him that much. But when he is used, he's pretty solid.
I think he goes back a C.
Okay. Kenny Galladay is gross.
Yeah, Kenny Galladay, put him at the front of gross, even above Allen Robinson.
KJ Osborne.
Oh, it's tough. I think in reality he's a D, but I don't think people know him enough.
I think he's right up there with Russell Gage.
I think he's better than Russell Gage. I think I'd rather have him over Russell.
I think he's in like the
I would have
the
him,
depth.
I would take him. I think this year when he puts up like 900 yards, people will be like, "Look, he's actually good." But he's just sat behind Adam Thielen, and that's been the issue. I think if we're gonna put him in solid depth, I think he's probably the best in solid depth. But if you want to put him behind Russell Gage, I'm fine with that.
I just think that there's like a tie right here. I don't think that one's better than the other. I think there's just a tie. KJ Hamler.
Well, with everything that happened, like we said, I think he just belongs in the unproven because he's not going to be playing.
Laviska Shenault, gross.
No, I don't think he's gross. I think he's
solid.
That's a good spot for him. Yeah.
Allen Lazard.
Probably. I'm deciding between C and D. I'll let you make that factor.
Dude, I was so close to just throwing him in gross because saying
Stop.
Allen Lazard is bad. But I know. It's because I'm a Bears fan. Yes, he belongs in D for right now, but he's not better than Michael Gallup, Curtis Samuel, and Marquise Brown. He's right about here. Yeah.
Really, I would take him over Curtis Samuel in a heartbeat. I might even take him over.
I think that we might have overrated Curtis Samuel a little bit.
Yes, I've been saying I don't think Curtis Samuel's
I think right about there.
That's
Tyler Lockett, I think that he's pretty solid. I would put him in C.
I would put him
honestly.
in C as well.
Terrace Marshall. Solid.
I'm deciding between solid and unproven. I just don't think he's really had a chance to. We can put him in solid. It's okay. We can put him in solid.
Okay. Marvin Jones.
Solid depth option.
Yeah. Terry McLaurin. That's pretty solid. I'd say B. Yeah. Right behind.
We haven't had a B in a while.
Yeah. John Mechie, unproven by far.
Yeah, he's
Mike Evans. I'm also saying B.
Yep.
Mike Williams.
I think we can put him right there with his teammate.
Okay. I'm putting him above him though, just because he's
That's
less
fair.
injury prone.
Yeah. We can. I can.
Darnell Mooney.
I
think he belongs in C because of his injury this past season.
Yes. Probably.
I would probably B.
Yeah, I would probably right now. I would probably put him in between Judy. Yeah, in between Judy and Kirk. We're on the same page there.
Yeah. Hey, I'll take a C as my number 2, and he's solid. Like he's a good player. By the way, there's rumors of him maybe switching his number to 0, and I wouldn't hate that. We'd have 0, 1, and 2, which just means Claypool has to switch his number 2. MVS, I'm putting in gross. I'm sorry.
No. I'm
so biased right now, dude.
I know he's either D or solid depth option in between KJ Osborne and Elijah Moore.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Solid depth.
Okay.
Nelson Aguilar.
Gross.
OBJ, I'm saying undecided because I honestly don't
that's
know.
fine because we don't know at this point.
We don't know what he's gonna do. Chris Olave, I'm a huge fan, but I'm also super biased.
Yeah.
I kind of want to put him in C as like a high end C, right around Darnell Mooney right now.
I would put him probably right in front of Darnell Mooney. I think is where I'd put him right now.
Yeah.
And compared to like Garrett Wilson right now, I think that's a good spot for him because I think Garrett Wilson's better, but I don't think he's like clearly like on a different tier than him. So I think compared to his other rookies, that's probably a good spot for him.
Do you know who this is? I can't really read the full name.
All right, the man has spoken. Matt thinks that Diggs does not belong, but he thinks Chase and Adams belong next year.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fine. I would disagree with you, but he's the tiebreaker. We said that's how it was going to be. I think you guys are wild for that, but it's.
Do you know who this is?
What is it?
Mide. I can't read the full name.
No, I don't even know.
All right. Well, by default, sorry, bro. Undecided is what we're going with for listeners. Devontae Parker.
I would put him at this point in his career. I think he's a solid depth option. What a fall from grace from him.
That's very generous right now, too.
So, he's a good wide receiver for. I don't. He's a good. He's a wide receiver for.
George Pickens.
D. I think at this point right now he's a D.
Right up there with this.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep.
Cool.
Honestly, same person.
D for Michael Pittman. I want to put him in C. Right up there with
I want to put him in gross. That's what I want to put him in.
That's because you're mad at him right now. That's why.
I'm not even mad. He wasn't on my fantasy team or anything.
Oh, I thought that he was. I'm sorry.
I just don't think he's that good. I think he is a wide receiver 2 on majority of NFL teams.
I like him a lot.
I
want to put him in C. I think that's fair.
I loved him coming into the draft, but like he has disappointed me. I think I'd rather have George Pickens than him. But yeah, we can put him at C.
Okay. I'm going to put him right about there. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Quez Watkins.
Gross. I'm not
Rashad Bateman.
Oh my gosh. Oh, so much to the point that like I might even be open to the idea. I've not been a wide receiver in the first round guy, but then I think of Quez Watkins ever having to touch foot on the football field again, and it makes me sick. Bateman's probably top of D. As much as I would want him to do better, I think he's top of D.
Jalen Reagor.
Gross. Gross again.
Hunter Renfrow.
Back end of D. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley, I'm going undecided for
now. Yeah.
Robbie Anderson, gross.
Gross.
Robert Woods, gross.
No, why is he gross?
He's gross, dude. That is a bad wide receiver.
That's such an acidine statement. I think he's a solid depth option. He's a good wide receiver for on a team.
I'll compromise with back of solid depth option.
Really, I would rather have Robert Woods than McCole Hardman, than Jarvis Landry, than Laviska Shenault, than Terrence Marshall, than Marvin Jones. Honestly, probably more than Jamison Crowder. I would rather have him than Amari Rodgers. I'd rather have him than Bryan Edwards. I don't even think it's close.
I'll put him right there with Jarvis Landry, but that's about it.
Wow.
And AJ's going to bump down here.
I don't think AJ belongs on the list, but that's okay. I would have been okay
out of respect
with picking him on. Yeah.
Yeah. Rondale Moore. I like Rondale Moore. I almost want to put him in the back of D.
Yeah. If Hunter Renfro's there, I think we can put Rondale Moore there.
Sterling Shepard, I would say C for him.
C. Okay.
He had a pretty solid season before he got hurt.
We can put him in C.
And I want to say the same for Darius Slayton when we get there too. But I can make an argument for D as well. Sky Moore, D.
I think he belongs in undecided / unproven. But
fair.
We can.
Yes. Darius Slayton,
D.
I'll put him here.
Just somewhere. Yeah, that works too.
T. Higgins, I want to put him B. He's good. Maybe high C.
Put him in B, but I think as we said we'd have the conversation about Brendan Ayuk. I think Brendan Ayuk I look at Brendan Ayuk amongst this list of everyone else. And I think we could make the argument about moving him down the list or putting him back at. But I think I'd rather have all of these guys over Brendan Ayuk.
Yeah.
Like, and be like firmly.
Michael Thomas. Gross.
My man, Tim Patrick. I would make an argument for him D, but he's been hurt and people don't understand my love for Tim Patrick, so we can put him in solid depth option.
Okay. Kadarius Toney.
Wherever you want to put him. I don't feel strongly about him.
He's going solid depth for right now, but he is teetering along that edge of gross right now. His career has not been impressive at all. Traquan Smith.
Solid depth option.
Yeah, sure. T.Y. Hilton, out of respect, I guess.
Out of respect, but he hasn't played. So,
I mean, he was decent for the Cowboys in that one catch that he had. Tyler Boyd, I'd like to put him in C, but like back here, like I'd say right up here or here.
That's tough. I was thinking D, but if you want to put him back at a C, that's fine.
Yeah. Let's say D, right above Alan Lazard. I think
fair. I think him compared to all those guys, that's a nice little spot for him.
Tyquan Thornton, unproven.
Tyquan Thornton, we can put an unproven.
Tyreek Hill, S tier.
S tier. D tier.
Van Jefferson.
D. I honestly like Van Jefferson more than regular people. I would be okay with putting him in C, but I know it's unrealistic. Yeah. That's a good spot for him.
Jalen Waddle, I want to put an A.
An
right
A?
Up there with DJ Moore.
Ooh.
DJ Moore and DK Metcalf, I would put Jalen Waddle above both of them. That's where I would put him right there.
I think we have a lot of A's, though. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we could put him there. That. But also I would also be okay with moving all three of those guys down to B tier. Okay. But yeah, I think
that's solid placement.
Yeah, we can put him there.
Wan'Dale Robinson. Yeah. Sammy Watkins. Gross.
I'm glad we agree.
Unless there's that one day of fantasy where he just goes off.
But he just goes off. But not least, against you.
Christian Watson, unproven.
No, see, I think he belongs in top of C, at least as of right now, because he had a
very good rookie. No.
Not top of C. We'll say mid C. We'll say I'm okay with putting him behind Brandon Cooks.
No, I would rather have Mike Williams over Christian Watson.
Dude, no, come on. There was like a stretch of like a week where he scored like two touchdowns and like 3 touchdowns.
I know. That's the thing. I want to just keep him in undecided and unproven right now, just because. I mean, he was an up and down receiver, and he's a rookie, and that's what we did.
He wasn't up and down. He was hurt. People forget like he played, but he had an oblique injury the first like 3 games, and it doesn't help that his wide receiver or his quarterback was gross.
Here's the thing.
Did not like him. He played here. Hold on. Let me see how many
majority.
Games he played.
Dude, we put Sky Moore in undecided and unproven. We put Alec Pierce in undecided and unproven.
Barely, because those guys barely played. This dude played. Dude, in 5 games, he had 611 yards, so he averaged more than 100 yards per game and had 7 touchdowns. 7 touchdowns in mind you, this is in 5 games. 7 touchdowns would tie him with 15th in the league. I think he belongs in C. Honestly, I would be okay with making the argument for him. This is a dude I have not felt very strongly about some wide receivers. I think he belongs in C, and I'm going to fight for him in C.
I don't think so, man. I'm not taking Christian Watson over Rashad Bateman, Michael Gallup, Marquise Brown, George Pickens right now. No.
What?
I'm not. And I will stand and die on that hill. I think that we should just keep him in undecided and unproven, because we cannot come to a conclusion.
Baffled. That baffles me. This dude played 5 games in 5 games where he missed. He should have played in 12 more games. He didn't. He should have played in 12 more games, and just in 5 games, he's tied for 15th in the league in touchdowns. He
we
played
got to
5 games.
we got to circle back to it at some
Oh my
point
golly.
next season or next off season. But until then,
Next
we got
week.
other stuff we got to we got to go to.
Pro football isn't the only game in town. Let's take a stroll to Ben's College Corner.
Ben, we got a fun topic. It's a deep, deep topic.
Yes.
Why don't you tell everybody what we're talking about?
Yeah, this week in College Corner, we are going to do an overview on the edge class. I have 7 edges that I have for you guys, but that being said, guys I really, really wanted to talk about, but just we wouldn't have time on the podcast to do so. I really wanted to just honorable mentions. Iowa State's Will McDonald, who we'll get to BJ Ojolari, but I've kind of interchanged these two guys throughout the entire process. Felix Anabuke Uzama, kid out of Kansas State, super duper smart, just a technician. And like I said, we'll get to who is it? He's not the same type of player that BJ is, but in the way that these guys are both smart, both come into each game with a plan, and again really understand what an offensive tackle does and how to counter that as an edge. FAU again, Felix Uzama or Anabuke Uzama is just really smart in that way. Keon White, the super athletic guy out of Georgia Tech. Again, he's just your dude with the traits, doesn't have a lot of production. Isaiah Foskey is just super solid dude. I think he holds the sack record there at Notre Dame. And then Derek Hall, a dude kind of along the lines of Foskey. He went to Auburn, a guy we'll probably see back end of round 2, early round 3, right around that. But those are just some honorable mentions that I weren't really able to get in the list, but just, names for your team to watch in the first, second, early third round. But let's be honest, like you said before, we all know who Edge 1 is. Some people will try to tell you it's Tyree Wilson because of the Trayvon Walker bump, but it's Will Anderson, and you would be lying to yourself if you had anyone other than Will Anderson. With the need at edge for you guys, I know you guys have need at tackle. You guys have need everywhere, let's be honest, everywhere along the defense, basically, outside of linebacker. You guys have a need. But and I don't think it will happen, but I would like to see a Bears trade up to 5 or something, and I don't think the Seahawks would do it. But I think if Poles managed to get Will Anderson or something, the city would burn down, and it would be so much fun.
We would give up way too much in that scenario, so I seriously doubt it. But I would love Will Anderson on my team. Dude, there's been a couple mocks where Will Anderson fell to 9. I'm like, what is this, PFF? Come on.
Well, it's because again,
I'll take it,
some people
but
have Tyree Wilson ranked above him, and then you take into the need of cornerbacks and stuff. But yeah, I mean, if he gets to 9, that'd be a travesty. But besides the point,
I mean, that's if Jalen Carter goes to Detroit at 6 and everything.
Detroit at 6 or hey. So here's the case: if you're Bears fans, and then we'll get into the players. You say 4 quarterbacks go within
the top 5.
The first, you say 4 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how it goes. And then let's say the Seahawks value a dude who fits in their scheme a little bit better in Tyree Wilson, so they take Tyree Wilson at 4. They'll take Tyree Wilson at 5. We'll say the Lions take what's the draft order look like? The Lions are at 6, right?
So the Cardinals would be at 3. So somebody would have to trade.
I'm assuming they trade. Yeah, I'm assuming they trade back with the
the Titans move up or something like that.
Let's say Titans or
Raiders.
Let's say Titans. Well, fine. Let's say Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't like the Raiders because I think Will Anderson would go to the Cardinals. So we'll say Titans. We'll say
Titans at 11. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say the Cardinals got a haul for them.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say Panthers, Texans, Titans, and Colts all take a quarterback. We'll say Seattle takes Tyree Wilson. We'll say Detroit takes a corner. Pick your liking, whoever you guys would like.
Christian Gonzalez.
Christian
Or
Gonzalez.
let's say Devon Witherspoon for this.
Let's say Devon Witherspoon for this point. And then we'll say Jalen Carter at 7 because he's not going to make that joke. Jalen Carter at 7 to the Raiders. And then let's say whoever's playing GM for the Falcons are absolutely dumb and takes the other quarterback. That is your case. If you're a Bears fan, to say Will Anderson will fall to 9.
It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen.
It doesn't. But
if it does, go and buy your lottery tickets because that's got a better chance.
I honestly, I think there might be a chance. There might be a world the Seahawks don't see Will Anderson fitting into their scheme and take Tyree Wilson, and the Lions take Carter or a CB. At that point, if you are the Bears, you want to jump the Falcons, and you say, "Hey Raiders, I'll give you my second round pick.
Yeah,
let me get up to 9." I think if you get Will Anderson, it's because you move up to 7. I don't see the Lions really moving out, and I don't see the Seahawks really moving out of that pick. But I think there's a world where the Bears trade up to 7 and Will Anderson does fall. That being said, let's dive into this class a little bit more. We spent a lot of time of what if and stuff.
Fantasizing. And it's just not going to happen though.
I want to put that out there. I would not ever project that to happen. There's like a 0.5% chance that would ever happen. Because I do think, again, Will Anderson's the number 1 edge, and anyone who has Tyree Wilson is absolutely crazy. Because Will Anderson is super duper athletic. He has been absolutely dominant in the run game, and he has very, 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 very good sack production in the SEC. So you look at great athlete, amazing in the run, and amazing in the pass rush. And you say, well, what's the catch on this guy? Well, there's not really a catch. That's why he's a top 3 prospect in the class. If you had any con on him, it's what I mentioned before there with the Seahawks, is he's a little bit more role specific. You'd rather have him coming off more of like the hybrid linebacker edge, but we've seen him play on the line with Alabama. It's not like he hasn't done it. Again, I think he'd be more fit for more of an edge rather than DE, but he's done it. It's, this isn't something that we haven't seen snaps on film of him doing it. And that's if you're being super duper duper nitpicky, but he's very, very good. There's not really any knocks against the guy. And then to wide receiver, I think that there's tier 1, S tier, Will Anderson, and then I think tier below, I think there's 2 guys, but I know no one else really thinks that at this point in the draft process. But Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech edge. I'll say Texas Tech edge, but we'll probably go with more defensive lineman because he is a bigger dude with traits. He has really good size and really good strength. So if he goes to a team that has 2 really good edges already, or 2 really good solid edges on pass rushing downs, you could see him kick into 3 tech and play the true NASCAR defensive lineman there and tick into the 3 tech in rush the passer if a team already has 2 decent edges already. But yeah, again, he has really good quickness he's quick, not super fast, but he has good size, good strength. But the 2 big knocks I have against him is he plays with some pretty high pad level. I'd like to see him drop it and stay lower to the ground when he's doing his pass rush. And it's something that I keep on coming back to. If you watch his Texas A&M tape, A&M, maybe it's Mississippi. It's Mississippi. I get the colors mixed up because they both play in SEC and have similar colors. But if you go back to the Mississippi game, not this past year, but the year before, Mississippi had a very, very good tackle with the name Charles Cross, who went in the first round of this past draft. Charles Cross shut Tyree Wilson down. It was not even close. To the point that Texas Tech had to start scheming him away from Charles Cross
because Charles Cross absolutely manhandled Tyree Wilson. And it is just one game. But when he's played the higher level guys, he's obviously hasn't been as dominant. And then obviously when you get to the NFL, every single player you play is a high level guy. So I'm a little worried about it, but again, if you're looking for a Trayvon Walker-esque guy, it's him and then someone down the board that we'll get to. And then the other dude I think that's on the same tier as him that I know no one else really agrees with at this point in the process. But someone coming into the process who is viewed as edge 2 by most is Clemson's defensive end, Miles Murphy. I'm still really high on him. I still want to put him above Tyree Wilson, but I would get absolutely slandered for it, and that's okay. But when you're talking about traits, it's this guy. He has like his biceps are probably bigger than what your head is. Dude has,
and I've got a big head, guys. I mean, seriously.
But like, dude has traits for days. He's super athletic. Sadly, we didn't see him test the combine because he had I think it was a hamstring issue. But on tape, he has shown that he has really good bend. He has really good explosion. But he's also just a very big guy. So you see really good bend, big guy with really good speed and quickness. I don't understand why people are falling on him. You look at those three things and you say, this dude would make an amazing edge. And again, by no means am I comparing him to this player and will say he will be this player. But I watch him and I see if he can get into a good D-line room with a good coach, his top tier is Danielle Hunter when Danielle Hunter was his best. Danielle Hunter in like 2017 or 2018. Again, some dude that is really big, really quick, really strong, and super bendy. There's not much to not like about this guy. The only two nitpicky things is he hasn't had like the top high end sack production. I think he's had like 7, 8, and then 6.5 from freshman, sophomore, and senior year. So I would have liked to see him develop a little bit more as a dude who came into Clemson as a 5-star. I question a little bit like, hey, what's happening there? And then when their DC left this past year, I'm blanking on his name, Venables, when he left to go to Oklahoma, we kind of saw that impact him. At least on tape, it really seemed like he didn't play as well this year as he did last year. And then the last thing I forgot to talk about him as a pro is like his teammates love him. His coaches love him. They all talk about like how amazing he is. But yeah, the two cons on him is I wish he would have developed more in college. And then I'd like to see his counter and the run a little bit more in terms of hand usage. It's not a huge issue. A dude who's been a big riser throughout this entire process, a dude I know you love, a dude I know Matt loves, a dude I know Coach Tyler loves. That's Iowa's defensive end. We'll say defensive lineman here again. Lucas Van Ness. And again, just like I said with Tyree Wilson, I see defensive lineman because I wouldn't be surprised if he kicks in to 3-tech on pass rushing downs. But we saw him test very, very well at the combine as well. It got overshadowed by two dudes, but he ran like a faster time than what Brian Branch did, the DB out of Alabama, another dude that people are super high on. He ran faster than him, and I think he's 6'6" as well. So he has great athleticism and really big frame to build on top of that. But outside of that, you don't really see a lot of pass rush moves on him. And then a big knock people like to put on him is he didn't start at Iowa. I'm not really concerned. I question why Iowa didn't start him, but he played majority of the snaps. I think he played like 60% of the defensive snaps. So he played more than their starters did. So I'm not too worried that he didn't start the game. But the one big thing I do like about him is while he's developing his other traits and his other moves, he comes into the NFL and immediately has a trump card in his back pocket. His bull rush is absolutely wild. No one's really able to stop his bull rush. I haven't really seen an offensive lineman drop his anchor and stop Lucas Van Ness's bull rush. And I'm sure there's guys in the NFL that absolutely will be able to. But he comes in and immediately does have a very, very good pass rush move. And that allows him to lean on that a little bit more while he gets the other moves. And then these next three guys, I would say, are on their own tier. I know people have been really high on Nolan Smith as of late in terms of the combine because he tested it absolutely off the charts. I think he ran a 4.39 or something, which is like the fastest 40 yards of an edge like ever. People are really high on him. And he has really good bend. And like I said, athlete. That's kind of just the word that's been thrown out for most of these edge rushers across this entire first like 8 edge rushers in this class. These guys are just really good athletes, and that's kind of what the position is heading towards. But if you had question marks about Will Anderson's role, you're really gonna have question marks about Nolan Smith's role. This is a dude who I don't see coming in and playing defensive end right away. You might be able to develop it down the line. He has a frame to be able to do that. But he is just absolutely too small to come in and play defensive end right now. Like he can only play edge rusher, outside linebacker. But he has good bend. He's a good athlete, dominant in the run game as well. But I would have liked to see him develop more as a pass rusher. Just like I said with Miles Murphy, these dudes came into college, back to back as like two of the best edge rushers in their class. And neither of them really developed much from the player that they were in high school, which is a little bit of a concern. But again, great athlete, great bend. And then from there, you just need to see him get into a good room. Then BJ Ojolari, a dude that I mentioned a little bit earlier on, LSU's edge rusher. If the last name sounds familiar, it's because his brother Azeez Ojolari got drafted in the second round. He might have gone in the first, but I'm pretty sure he got in the second round of the Giants. He played at Georgia. These guys are similar-esque, but I think BJ, like I mentioned with Felix Uzama, that both these guys come in with a pass rush plan. These guys are really smart. And like even within a game, you see these guys do one pass rush move in first and second quarter and see how those tackles react, and then use the first pass rush move that they've been doing to set up this crazy spin move or this crazy dip and rip. And they're really smart and they know how to game plan. And then as far as Ojolari, he's quick and a very good pass rusher. People on that LSU team absolutely love him. I think it's 18. He wore I forget what the number is, but there's a number at LSU that like only the best players wear it, and BJ got it this past year. But like I said, he's smaller, and that being said, I would like him to add more weight and add more strength when he comes to next level. And then the last dude that I have for you guys is I'm going to call him 8080, but that's Northwestern's edge rush, Northwestern's D lineman, we'll say. Adabare, I'm not going to even try to pronounce his first name. It might be pronounced Edewatimiaware, but I know I butchered that. But from here on out, I'll call him 8080. But he's going to be my prospect breakdown, so we'll get to him in just a little bit. And then a dude that I've been super duper high on as far as a late round prospect for your team in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. Just Nick Herbig. If your team is coming in and wants a designated pass rusher, Nick Herbig is your dude. I'm inclined to say he's the best pass rusher in all of college this past year, but that's it. He cannot play the run at all. He is very, 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 very small. I think if he comes to next level, it can add some weight. I think we could see him be a Hassan Reddick light, because both those guys are smaller guys. But that's like upper echelon if he reaches all of his potential. But just a name to watch out for. Nick Herbig in the later rounds. Absolutely going to be a pass rush specialist at the next level here. And then again, have questions for you guys. We'll just name those off again. Iowa State's Will McDonald, Kansas State's Felix Uzama, Georgia Tech's Keon White, Notre Dame's Isaiah Foskey, and Auburn's Derek Hall. But we'll get into 80-80 for you guys as my prospect breakdown. Pros, as I told you guys, there are two really, really good guys that came out of the combine that you said these dudes tested amazingly. One of them was Nolan Smith. The other guy was 80-80. He tested even better than what Trayvon Walker did at a bigger size than what Trayvon Walker is. This dude is 6'2", weighs 265 pounds. And you came out of the combine last year coming out of Indy saying, maybe Trayvon Walker is the number 1 overall pick. And I'm not saying that 80-80 is, but he tested better than what Walker did. And people out of the Northwestern program rave about how good of a character he has, how smart he is. But really the two things that stood out to me when watching him, I only watched one game of him, but how good of a gap control he has, because he's really good at just staying there on the rundowns and being able to throw his dude to left or right if the running back is coming through his gap. But then as 6'2", 265 pounds, you say 6'2", that's kind of short for a D tackle / edge rusher. But the awesome thing is he has very powerful lower body, and being 6'2", he has that natural leverage to really get it underneath a guy's pads and push him back. And like I said, in Indy, he tested really well, and that kind of translates to the field with how quick he is. And like I said, he can play pretty much anywhere along the D lineman. Honestly, I would be okay with him even being a 1 tech on pass rushing downs. I know I've said 3 tech, but I would be okay with him even being 1 tech on pass rushing downs. I was even tempted to throw him in my D tackle rankings, but we threw him in edge. And then the small things I'm not a big fan on is he doesn't really have any bend at all. I didn't see it at all on tape. And I would like to see him finish plays more. He gets there, but he doesn't finish always. He doesn't always get the sack. He doesn't always get the strip fumble. He doesn't always get the tackle for loss. I'd like to see him finish plays. And as I told you, he has the natural leverage, but that also means he's not a very normal build. We don't see dudes weigh as much he is and as short as he is. But I'm not saying he's Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald was a normal build. So, and then the last con I had on him is while he has really good gap control while playing edge when he plays interior, it concerns me a little bit. We can see him get pushed back and driven back when he plays the 3 tech or 1 tech. But again, when he plays edge, his gap control is very, very good. So a name to watch out for back end of round 1, early round 2 for you guys. And then I might have to lump DBs together for you guys so we can get all these in before the draft. But next week, stay tuned for it's either going to be cornerbacks or it's going to be DBs. So
there we go. So due to time and everything like that as well, because we still have a mock draft to make, we will not be going and doing gridiron goofs tonight. It's been, like Ben said at the beginning, school's kicking his butt and work's kicking mine. Lots of exciting stuff going on as well behind the scenes and stuff. So, stay posted and everything like that.
yes.
Should we do Weddle just to kick it off and or end it in a fun way? Ben, you're up 20-11 right now. I mean, I need to get something going, but you've been unbelievable, just sniping it out of nowhere. I mean, just thin air at this point. It's hard, guys. I'm trying, I promise. If you're unfamiliar with it, we help each other out in the first round, and then in the second round, we just kind of do our own thing and try and do it for all the marbles. So, Ben, I mean, you've been absolutely demolishing me this time. Why don't we start off with you?
Sure. Yeah. AJ Brown.
Oh, all right. Wow. All right. So, I mean, I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts then, right? Well, there we go. All right.
Well, we made it nice and easy. It was a Philadelphia Eagle. It was young.
6'1".
Yeah.
Jersey number was a lot less than 11.
So
All right. So hard mode.
that was fun.
All right. So I guess I'll just go with my man Fields. All right. So it's an offensive player.
Offensive player who's fairly young, which is nice. Who plays in the AFC. Not a quarterback. Kind of close to 6'3". Trying to think of wide receivers that came out of this past class. I don't think it's this dude, but Drake London. No, it's not in the AFC, but do it anyways.
All right, so it is a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with George Pickens. Oh, okay.
22. Okay, not in north, so southeast or west. I'm blanking on which teams are in the south. I don't know why it's going to drive me crazy. Do Tyquan Thornton.
Are you kidding me?
I swear to God, too. I'll open it up. I'll open up my Weddle so you guys don't think I cheated or something.
No.
I don't
He doesn't.
be
He's just unreal.
Honestly, I would
my
not have
God.
even thought about Tyquan Thornton. No, because I don't want to be. Here, we're gonna do this just real quick.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. See, it's not. It's completely empty. I didn't play. I promise, guys.
Unbelievable.
I would not have even thought about him, but we talked about him on.
I'm stunned.
Oh, I can't believe I pulled Tyquan Thornton out with my second pick. That's wild.
All right. Well, if you stuck around this long, thanks again. Leave a positive review and everything if you want me to hopefully win. If you're rooting for me, I appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. This is ridiculous. This is like the fourth straight week you've made it within the last 3 picks. That's ridiculous. Anyways, we're working on a bunch of stuff, especially for the draft. So stay posted. We're going to make a mock draft and everything as well. So if you are interested in that, just tune in here shortly. I'll be making a broadcast for that as well. And then we will be putting that out like we always do on every Thursday. This past week was a little weird just because, I was out of town and everything like that. I couldn't really get it uploaded until earlier this week. So if you guys are just now catching up, thank you very much. And I apologize for the slight delay as well. So this will do it for this week's episode of the Pigskin Project, and we will see you guys next week. We want to thank Spotify for Podcasters. It's no longer known as Anchor.fm. Overtime Sports Network. Still need a haircut from Uppercuts Grooming. So that's a thing. What else am I thinking about? I think that's it. Oh, Regional Radio Sports Network. The company I work for
last week.
Yeah. Big thank you to them for helping me grow and everything like that, for our podcast and everything, for everything that we've been able to kind of get to. And we will see you guys next week with hopefully a lot more news than this week. So take it easy, everybody, and we will see you in the mock draft episode.